Hi, y'all. Welcome to another weekend here in Los Angeles. I think we've officially shifted to our summer weather. We've got bright blue skies and nice warm temperatures. So welcome to summer. Last week we were talking about one of our favorite underdog stories with the story of Joseph. And so this week I wanted to shift into an underdog story that maybe we often have a tough time cheering for. And so this week our social distancing champ is going to be the lost son, and not just the lost son, but the lost sheep and the lost coin. The lost son, we usually try to focus on the father and how good he is and how forgiving he is, and so we kind of ignore the fact that I think the lost son is sort of an underdog in that. So we're going to use that story just to kind of tie ourselves to last week, but we're going to shift into the fact that while these three subjects were really good at social distancing, the one sheep kept away from the 99, and the one coin kept away from the 9, and the lost son kept away from his family and friends. Our focus isn't going to be on how good they were at being quarantined, but rather I want to focus on finding what is our responsibility to the lost, to the struggling, and to the found. So let's start with the story of the lost sheep. So in Luke chapter 15, verses 4 through 7 is where the story of the lost sheep starts. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Upon researching these stories, I came across the Nolan commentary, and I really liked what he had to say about this parable. He said that the point of this parable is the disproportionate investment of effort and concern directed towards the one sheep. In the context of losing and finding, so you have to remember this context, the one is temporarily of more importance than the 99, in connection with whom there is no particular need or problem. So simply in the context of losing and finding, the one does gain more importance, but that's simply because the 99 have no particular need or problem. So it's all temporary. And so we know that the shepherd still cares for the 99 because he chooses the fastest way to get the sheep home. I've heard people argue with me about this parable and like, how can the shepherd just leave behind the 99 and the danger and everything like that? I think we see the care of the shepherd when we realize that the shepherd isn't putting the sheep on his shoulders because he wants to dance with him or because he's excited. He's putting the sheep on his shoulders because that's the fastest way he's going to get back to the rest. And instead of walking and slowly guiding the sheep home, he opts to put it on his shoulders and bear the weight of the sheep and have that extra effort and have to navigate a terrain with this extra weight on him and hurry back to the 99 because he still cares for the 99, and the one isn't of more importance, and he doesn't love that one more than the 99. He just, in the context of losing and finding, that one temporarily gains more importance. And so just remember that he's not hanging out with the one sheep. He's not leaving the 99 and saying, "Hey, I just want to hang out with this one." He's bringing it back into the fold. And so I think our responsibility in this story, if we're connecting ourselves as the 99, is not to feel less valuable as a part of the 99. We don't lose our value because he's gone out and left us and tried to get the one. Perhaps the one has higher significance for temporarily purposes, but that doesn't decrease our value. He's not abandoning the 99 forever. The 99 is still just as valuable in his heart as he's rushing back to them. And it's the 99 aren't losing their value because he's not giving them their full attention. And how do we know this? Because we get to read on to the next story. Jesus doesn't stop with that one parable. He goes on to the next one. And that's again, still Luke 15, verses 8. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friend and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. Do the coins, the other 9 coins, suddenly lose all of their value because the one is not with them? Does the woman throw out the 9 coins because she's like, well, these are of no use to me, I don't have my 1 coin? Or does she spend all 9 coins or aimlessly use them because she's lost the one or because she's in anguish over the one? No, the coins are still worth the same value. The 9 coins still have the same exact value they had when they were 10. They haven't individually lost their value. So again, our responsibility when we hear this story, if we're associating ourselves with the 9, is to know that our worth has not changed simply because the woman is now vesting her time in looking for the other coin. The last story is probably one of the most known stories. It's in the Bible, maybe. It's the lost son story, or the prodigal son story. And it's a story where a young man has gone up to his father and said, "I would like my inheritance. I would like it to be as if you were dead, and I would like to gain what I would earn if that were the case." And he goes and the father agrees, gives him this money, gives him his share, and the son goes out and wastes all the money. He realizes that he's poor, and then and his father's servants have it better than he does, his father's day laborers. And so then he decides to return and to the family and to the fold, and the father runs out to him and gives him the best robe, the best ring, the shoes on his feet, and welcomes him back into the fold. And but the part of the story that I want to focus on is at the end. And I want to start in, again, chapter 15, verses 25. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field, and when he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked what was going on. "Your brother has come," he replied, "and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." "My son," the father said, "you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The attitude of the older brother sort of reminds me of Jonah, and I know I love me some Jonah, but Jonah went and sat and waited for the destruction of Nineveh because he felt that's what they deserved, and I feel like that's what this older brother sort of wanted. He saw what his younger brother did, and he kind of wants him to have this moment of, you get what you deserve. We have this feeling that maybe we associate with the older brother, and we're the ones who were faithful. We're the ones who were peaceful. We were doing things the right way. But being faithful does not place the father or the shepherd or the woman or God in our debt. That's not what being faithful is. That's what working for a wage is. And if we want to start playing that game, I guarantee you that's a game that we're going to lose when we start to go up against God about comparing debt. So again, being faithful does not place God or any of these similes to who God is, right? The father, the shepherd, the woman. Does not place God in our debt. Being faithful doesn't put us there. And again, that same theme is running through this story. The older son's value has not decreased according to his father simply because his brother has come home. Instead, the father is encouraging him that the value of his life has actually increased because he's regained his father. Remember what he says here, verse 31, "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and found." You've gained a brother. Your life is better now. So Jesus is using these stories to challenge the Pharisees specifically, but then also to us to realize that even though at times it may not seem that the attention is solely on the righteous or the people who think they're doing the right things, sometimes it seems like God's attention is elsewhere. It seems like our attention is elsewhere. And maybe to support the one, to support the lost, to support those who have maybe gone astray, or maybe to support something that has not done anything like the lost coin. The lost coin did nothing to lose itself. But yet our role is not to feel like our value has diminished because the woman is now looking for what has been lost. We can't foolishly keep worrying about our own value decreasing because we're not being paid attention to, because we're not the focus. Notice in these stories that nothing new is being gained. Rather, these stories focus on restoration, to the way that things should have been or were at one time. They were unified. They were together. They were the 100. They were the 10. They were a family. And we need to rejoice and celebrate that we have a God who seeks after the lost, who seeks after the things when they become separated, when they become disproportionate, when they become the 99, when they become the 9, when they become the 3, right? He wants to restore us to the 4. He wants to restore us to the 100. He wants to restore us to the 10. Because again, we serve a God who seeks after the lost, despite the lost having done absolutely nothing to warrant being rescued, except simply being his. So my hope is that we go into this weekend seeking restoration and celebrating bringing things to the way that they should have always been. We're all in this together and being unified. So this week's songs are a song by Warren Barfield. It's called "Love Is Not a Fight." It sheds some light on how to better see what it means to love. And the other song I have for you is called "Peace Be Still" by Darst. And hopefully this brings some encouragement on how to listen to God's calming voice, on how to navigate through waves and turbulent times. So thanks for spending some time with me this weekend, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.